Are you a lifelong fan of General Hospital?
Are you a new fan who wants to know more about the history of the show?
Do you enjoy talking about the show with others?
Do you find yourself yelling at the TV?
Is your self-care an hour a day in Port Charles?
If so, we invite you to join hosts
Amanda Kimmel
and Shannon Coach at the place where all the hidden conversations take place and secrets are revealed.
Meet us at Pier 54,
a General Hospital fan podcast. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the Port Charles 411. Today is Lucky and Liz part 22 and Lucky part 30. I know that we've kind of started talking about it. You think we're going to go over 50?
I was going to say, is this just been the year of Lucky? We're going to be at 52.
Oh, we could do that. We have taken a few weeks off though, like we did Rick and something else. We've done like a couple one-offs.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see if we ever finish Bobby.
Bobby's just going to be like 5 years of Bobby.
At the same time, though, think about it. That means that they haven't really given us a lot to go off of in the past since August.
Right.
Like nothing has really stood out for us to be like, oh my gosh, no, we need to do this right now before we move on. So,
although being that it's Lucky, I'm not exactly sure what that would be that we would have to say, no, we're going to not keep doing Lucky because we're a little in love. Like Rick was necessary. It would have to be
something like Rick coming back. Right. It would have to be something like, I don't even know. it would have to be somebody significant coming back that we need to give the background of, or you're going to be lost.
Right.
So, yes. All right. So a lot happens with Lucky on the docks because that's where we pick up today. We're using soapcentral.com and it's August 21st through November 17th, 2006. So on the docks, Lucky ends things with Maxie, admitting his addiction led him to hurt people, including her. Maxie's desperate and clinging to her fantasy, insists that they have something real, something he'll never have with Liz. But Lucky, burdened by guilt and a deep, if battered, love for Liz, tells her that their affair meant nothing sober. Ouch.
Yeah.
Maxie is wounded but persistent, refuses to let go. Meanwhile, Liz is furious that Jason told Sam about their one-night stand. Jason explains that he owed Sam honesty after learning about her betrayal with Rick. Liz fears Lucky discovering the truth will shatter his fragile recovery, but Jason assures her that Sam is leaving town. Their conversation underlines the guilt Liz carries, not just for cheating, but for how tangled her heart remains. When Jason asks if she could forgive Lucky, Liz answers that she must, because she still loves him and believes in fighting for what they have. At the hospital, Lucky reassures Liz that he has realized there was never anything between her and Patrick, and he admitted that he used it as an excuse to justify his drug use. Liz, determined to rebuild their marriage, promises her support, unaware that Maxie is lurking and her hurt festering into something dangerous. Have we ever done a 411 on Maxie? I don't think we have.
I don't know. That would be a good one.
Yeah. Later, Maxie confronts Liz, trying to paint herself as innocent. Liz sees through it. Maxie may have been grieving Jesse, but she deliberately pursued Lucky. With pointed calm, Liz calls her a tramp and makes it clear that Lucky is staying with his wife. Despite Liz's warning, Maxie later supplies more pills to Lucky, exploiting his weakness to staying connected to him. At home, Lucky battles withdrawal alone. He nearly calls Maxie, but stops himself, a glimmer of the man he used to be. Liz visits Jason again and makes him swear that Lucky must never learn about their night together. When Liz finds Lucky drenched in sweat, she nurses him, and Lucky thanks her for giving him hope. But even then, he clings to the belief that he can recover quietly without exposing this shame. Lucky later arrests his old dealer on the docks, and despite temptation, he refuses the offered pills and hands everything over to Detective Rodriguez. Liz witnesses this and praises him, but inside, she doubts he's truly winning the battle. It is really early in that.
Yes.
No, he's not winning. Wow. Back at the apartment, tensions erupt. During an argument, Lucky drops his gun and it accidentally discharges, frightening Liz. She begs him to seek real rehab. Their struggle is interrupted by Edward, who delivers the news of Lulu's pregnancy. Brutal blow to Lucky, who already feels as though he's failed everyone he loves. After Edward leaves, Lucky lashes out at Liz, driving her away for a moment. When she returns, he insists on seeing Lulu, stubborn and guilt-ridden despite Liz's protests. Outside, he makes a cryptic call, hinting at his continuing inner war. Later, Liz confides to Emily and Nikolas that Lucky must believe he is being trusted. But Nikolas questions whether Liz can truly can trust him herself. At the docks, Maxie secretly pockets painkillers before meeting Lucky, who called her looking for more pills. Though Maxie warns him it might take a day to get them, she's eager to keep him dependent on her. Meanwhile, Liz wanders the docks, lost in thought, where Jason finds her. He reflects on how timing and choices shape lives. Jason reminds her that people still control how they react, and he chose to be with her without regret and promises to always be her friend. At home, Lucky battles violent nightmares, dreaming that he kills Liz in a jealous rage. Liz reassures him that the nightmares are part of his withdrawal and urges him to see that they reflect the chaos he has created, not her betrayal. Lucky, ashamed, marvels that she can still forgive him. Not his betrayal, I'm sorry. Later, overhearing Liz arranging for Cameron to stay with Audrey, Lucky encourages her to visit their son. Why wasn't Liz seeing Cameron? What?
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I understand moving him to a different house, especially after the gun discharged on accident, but of course she should be seeing him.
Wait, I think I know where it. Okay, so I think that she wasn't leaving Cameron alone with Lucky, and he's encouraging her to let him just take care of it, because the next line is Liz refuses to leave him alone, but Nikolas soon arrives to help.
Oh, okay.
So that was just written weird, but I think that that's what it's saying, because if Lucky is having such bad withdrawal symptoms, she's probably not trusting him to be alone with her child.
Right.
Nick tries to convince Lucky to enter rehab, but Lucky refuses, terrified that the police department will discover his addiction and see him as weak. How they have not noticed this yet.
Right, exactly. They're not very good detectives at that police station.
Lucky agrees to attend a meeting, with Nick escorting him to prevent a relapse. At the hospital, Liz breaks down to Emily, confessing that if Lucky uses again, she'll have no choice but to leave for Cameron's sake. Maxie, eavesdropping, smiles at Liz's pain. I know.
Man.
And again, just remember, this is current Maxie. Later, Lucky and Kirsten Storms, in case you're listening to this in 30 years and Maxie has been recast, which she better not have been.
No.
Later, Lucky meets Maxie outside of the hospital and accepts more pills from her. Nick and Liz, worried but hopeful, wait for him at his meeting, unaware that he's already faltering. Back at the apartment, Emily and Nick prepare dinner to celebrate Lucky's efforts. Em pushes for real rehab, but Lucky insists on staying mobile to support Lulu. When news comes that Lulu might consider an abortion, Lucky spirals. Furious, he storms out despite Liz's pleas, confronting Lulu outside of Kelly's and violently grabbing her phone as she calls a clinic. Lulu stands firm, the decision is hers alone, and storms off. Lucky's rage deepens, and he makes desperate phone call for help. Nick and Dylan are trying to reason with Lucky, but tensions explode when Lucky blames Dylan and attacks him. Emily and Nick worry that Lucky's spiraling emotions echo Laura's fragile past. Oh yeah, this is when Laura was in her catatonic state too.
Right.
So I mean, I could imagine watching your brother having this episode would make you wonder, how close is he to being like mom? Later, Lulu went to visit Liz on the docks about Lucky's outburst. Liz tries to explain Lucky's guilt and addiction, but Lulu is overwhelmed. After Lulu leaves, Maxie approaches Liz, fishing for news about Lucky. Liz makes it clear that Maxie isn't welcome near them. Still refusing rehab, Lucky justifies more pill use to Maxie by claiming that he needs to stay strong for Lulu. Maxie enables him, assuring him everything will be fine as long as they have each other.
One night, Liz confesses to Jason at the docks that she's scared to go home. She loves Lucky, but can't keep Cameron in a home clouded with addiction. If Lucky relapses again, she vows to leave. Windermere, Liz, and Nick talk again. Nick pushes her to demand Lucky to get real help. Liz admits she can't force him, but she knows that she can't endure much longer. She clings to her marriage vows for better or worse, but fears she's nearing her breaking point. Unbeknownst to Lucky and Liz, Liz is already pregnant with Jason's child, a secret that will soon change everything. Meanwhile, Maxie continues weaving her own lie, pretending to be pregnant with Lucky's baby to hold on to him even tighter. Outside of Kelly's, Maxie gave Lucky more pills as he tries to justify his drug use by stressing his need to help Lulu. Maxie uses the moment to kiss him, but Lucky pulls away, insisting he wouldn't cheat on Liz again. Furious, Maxie warns him that he'd have to get his own pills next time. Georgie later found Maxie in tears. Maxie vowed not to be used by Lucky again. If he wanted her, he'd have to come to her. At the hospital, Patrick warned Liz that Lucky needed real rehab, not just meetings. He shared his personal experience with an addict father, emphasizing how dangerous untreated addiction is. Lucky interrupted, defensive about Liz discussing their problems with Patrick, and Liz assured Lucky she was proud of his efforts, and after a tense exchange, he left. Later at the docks, Liz again urges Lucky to seek rehab. Lucky refuses, saying he could handle withdrawal if Liz stayed by his side. After Liz left for work, Lucky secretly took another pill. He soon met up with Maxie again, asking for more drugs. Maxie demanded proof that he cared about her, and Lucky lied, saying he would leave Liz for her after things settled with Lulu. Meanwhile, Lulu confided in Liz at the hospital about the pressure Edward was putting on her regarding her pregnancy. Edward threatened to have Lulu followed to ensure that she didn't terminate it. Lulu reminded Edward that his defective Enduro condoms caused the pregnancy and warned she'd go pregnant if he didn't back off. Prompted by this, Liz visited Jason's penthouse, found the same
She'd go,
condom brand.
she'd
Like,
go,
I'm
no, she would go public. No, she would go public. She wouldn't go pregnant.
Oh, I can't read. Like, I was like so caught up in the storyline. I'm like,
Nope,
yes, I
that's
remember
okay.
all this. Sorry, she warned that she would go public with the story if he didn't back off. Prompted by this, Liz visited Jason's penthouse, found the same condom brand in his drawer, and realized the blackout night with Jason could have consequences.
What?
Oh, that was so good though. And I did feel really bad for them because both couples used protection and thought like we're all good and then nope. On the pier, Lucky told Maxie he felt distant from Liz and closer to Maxie, who promised to continue supplying pills without pressuring him to confess anything to Liz. Later, before heading to an NA meeting, Lucky visited Liz at work and apologized for how he'd used Maxie, vowing to change. After he left, Liz vented her frustration to Jason, asking if she should force Lucky into rehab. Jason advised that forcing someone never worked, they had to choose for themselves. Later, Rick noticed Liz seemed rattled, but she brushed him off. Back at her apartment, Liz pulled out a pregnancy test. When Lucky unexpectedly came home, she hid the test and lied about a work call. Lucky tried to be affectionate, but Liz pushed him away, telling him she still wasn't ready for intimacy after his affair with Maxie. Lucky stormed out, and Liz confirmed her pregnancy with a second test, flashing back to her night with Jason. Did you take multiple tests?
I honestly don't remember.
Okay. I just remember, like, with Matt, especially, that confirmation line lit up before the test is working line. And I had
Yeah.
no doubt after that. And tests are freaking expensive. So when you see the storylines where they're like, oh, I took like 5 tests because I didn't believe it, I'm like, man, that was a lot of money to confirm something that the first test told you.
Yeah, but if they come in a 2-pack.
If they come in a two pack, then why not? But especially when you're like young and broke, yeah, I want to buy the cheapest one and I just want to buy one.
True.
Um, Liz had Dr. Lee confirm the pregnancy and requested a paternity test, admitting she wasn't sure who the father was. Meanwhile, Maxie continued to manipulate Lucky, giving him more pills and showing him a new apartment she'd rented for their future together. Lucky lied, telling Maxie he would leave Liz after family matters with Lulu settled. Liz, overwhelmed, asked Nikolas for help, convincing Lucky to enter rehab, confessing she was pregnant. Nick promised to intervene. Liz also sought Jason, but Sunny informed her that he was out of town and reminded her that Jason loved Sam. At work, Liz called about her pregnancy, still intent on keeping it secret from Lucky for now. When Lucky invited her to the mayor's charity party, Liz voiced concern about him being around alcohol, but he insisted it was important for his career. A distraught Liz nearly confided in Lucky about her unexpected pregnancy, but held back when Maxie arrived with Mac. Maxie's smugness angered Liz and embarrassed Lucky, who struggled with guilt over being falsely praised for killing Manny. Suspicious when Liz refused alcohol, Lucky was soon cornered by Maxie, who teased moving in with him and used the promise of pills to string him along, threatening to expose his drug use to Liz if he resisted. While Lucky eavesdropped, Liz and Maxie argued. Maxie claimed she knew Lucky better than his wife, while Liz blamed Maxie for enabling his addiction. Lucky eventually intervened, siding with Liz, throwing Maxie out, though not before Maxie vowed revenge. Liz pleaded with Lucky to get better, not for her, but for himself. At the Quartermaines, tensions flared again when Lucky loudly criticized Lulu's choice regarding her unplanned pregnancy. Liz calmed Lulu outside while Luke told Lucky that decisions about Lulu's life were hers to make. Later on the docks, Lucky promised Maxie he would leave Liz, but on his own terms. Maxie agreed to provide more pills only if Lucky slept with her. Meanwhile, Liz overheard Sam on the phone reconciling with Jason, learning that Sam lied about their breakup. Sam warned Liz not to judge, given Liz's own one-night stand with Jason. Liz insisted she and Jason were only friends and that she was still married. Lucky confronted Lulu at the clinic, trying to guilt her out of having an abortion by invoking Laura's memory. Luke shut him down, reminding Lucky of his hypocrisy given his pill use. Hurt, Lucky stormed off and found Liz at the hospital, overhearing her discussing a pregnancy with Kelly Lee, though Liz covered, saying it was about Cameron. Privately, Liz admitted to Kelly that the baby could be Jason's after their one-night stand, not Lucky's. Meanwhile, Maxie presumed Lucky into meeting her again. No, pressured. I cannot read. I'm sorry. Meanwhile,
Nope, me neither.
Maxie pressured Lucky into meeting her again for pills, demanding sex in return. Liz later found a stray pill at home, confirming Lucky's ongoing addiction. She confided in Nikolas and decided to leave Lucky, unwilling to let Cameron live around a drug addict. After sleeping with
I'm not
Maxie,
willing.
what did I say? I don't even know what I said. Unwilling, she
Unwilling. You said I'm willing to let Cameron live around a
unwilling to let Cameron live around a drug addict. After sleeping with Maxie again, Lucky was caught by Nikolas, who informed him that Liz had found his stash and was leaving him. Lucky rushed home and tried to stop Liz from packing, but a violent struggle left Liz on the floor. Nikolas burst in, furious at Lucky, and took Liz to the hospital for a checkup, where Kelly advised Liz to focus on her health and consider telling Lucky about the pregnancy. Instead, Liz vowed to leave him for good.
Back at Graham's, Liz explained everything to Audrey, heartbroken but firm in her decision to end her marriage. Lucky begged Liz out the door, promising to quit drugs, but she refused to let him see Cameron and told him the marriage was over. Lucky collapsed on the porch in tears. After another pill-fueled encounter with Maxie, Lucky realized he had been using her for drugs and broke things off. He only just now realized that.
Right, exactly. As she's saying to you, I'll give you these, but only if you hook up with me. You didn't realize what was going on.
And when you told her that things were only good sober, or like
Right.
weren't, I think that was kind of a clue there, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway, Maxie refused to accept it, trying to tempt him with more pills, but Lucky slammed the door on her. At the hospital, Liz discussed her situation with Kelly, confessing she hoped Lucky could be the baby's father, but knowing that Jason would be the better parent, giving Lucky's downfall. Emily urged Liz not to give up on Lucky too soon, mentioning that the rehab spot she and Nikolas secured for him. Liz, however, was determined to file for divorce. Lucky learned Liz was headed to court, but was derailed when Maxie faked an overdose at their special place. Lucky found Maxie unconscious, surrounded by scattered pills. Jason returned home from his recent mission and reported to Sonny about the growing threat from Alcazar, warning that the war they were trying to avoid was quickly becoming inevitable. Jason explained that Alcazar was becoming more powerful and dangerous than ever, though Sonny seemed dismissive, confident that a bullet would end the problem. Jason, however, remained focused on the looming threat, urging that their priority should be Alcazar. Before leaving, Jason mentioned Carly had been looking for him and needed his help. Later, Jason visited Sam, who was struggling with her emotions over Alexis's worsening condition. She expressed her fears, especially after learning that Alexis's surgery had a long recovery ahead. Jason assured Sam and presented her Jason reassured Sam and presented her with a thoughtful gift, trying to comfort her during this uncertain time. Their conversation was interrupted when Jason ran into Liz, who had just come from the courthouse where she filed for divorce from Lucky. She was shaken and shared the details of their heated argument, including how Lucky had accidentally knocked her down. Liz had been waiting for Jason to return because she needed to tell him something important. Before she could, though, Sam appeared and, sensing tension, excused herself. Liz's secret weighed heavily on her. She had hoped to tell Jason that she was pregnant and he could possibly be the father, but seeing Sam nearby made her lose her nerve. Instead, Liz told Jason that she simply wanted to talk about their issues with Lucky, particularly his addiction and their marriage. Jason reassured her that he was there for her, and he insisted that she share what was truly bothering her. Before she could fully confide, Sam returned and Liz left, still carrying her secret. At the same time, Lucky was spiraling further. He found Maxie in her room. This must have been like a Friday to Monday.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, Lucky was spiraling further after having found Maxie surrounded by the empty bottle of pills. She had overdosed in an attempt to numb the emotional pain caused by her fractured relationship with him. Diego barged in, furious when he saw the situation, and berated Lucky for using Maxie to get pills. Lucky, though, insisted on taking her to Mercy Hospital against Diego's wishes to go to General Hospital. Despite the tension, Diego helped carry Maxie to the car, and they rushed her to Mercy Hospital. At that point, you go with whichever one's closest. I
Right,
understand
exactly.
that Lucky was probably protecting her with anonymity
Right.
so that, if Mac was the commissioner at the time, the commissioner's daughter wasn't being brought in. But
Well, also, you don't want your wife who's divorcing you to see you spending more time
yeah, there's
with
that.
your mistress.
Oh, yeah. Yep. That also does it.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking that he was doing it for HIPAA reasons.
No, I don't think he was being nice to Maxie. I think he just didn't want Liz seeing that he was with Maxie again.
He wanted to cover his tracks. Okay, never mind. So the doctors confirmed that Maxie was stable, though she needed to stay overnight for observation. Maxie woke up and wanted to leave, admitting that she only took the pills because she couldn't bear the rejection she felt from Lucky. When the doctor warned that Lucky would have to report her overdose to the authorities, Lucky convinced him that it wasn't necessary. Maxie later collapsed, clutching her chest, and was rushed into cardiac arrest. Okay, so we have not seen Lucky and Maxie talk, right? Since
Nope.
they've been back. I mean, this was 2006, so it was almost 20 years ago. My goodness gracious. And off the top of my head right now, I'm having a hard time. How do Liz and Maxie respond to each other right now?
I feel like they just kind of like are acquaintances. Like they're not close, but at the same time they don't hate each other still.
Yeah. It's like they realize that they're in the same atmosphere and that they just have to make do.
Right. Like Maxie ends up at the hospital because of James often and is like, oh man, here I am. And Liz is like, okay, your appointment's with Dr. So-and-so. And that's like it. They don't have any type of friendship or hatred. They're just kind of like, yeah, we exist.
There we go. Existence is good. Meanwhile, Liz had returned to work, visibly affected by her pregnancy. Now, what does that mean?
Right?
Because she's not showing. We know that one.
Nope.
Is she just tired?
I'm guessing that she's just exhausted. The next sentence says about morning sickness, so that makes you pretty sleepy. And Epiphany was still on the scene then, and Epiphany paid attention to everything.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so she fainted from morning sickness, and Epiphany stopped her from falling. Epiphany, having a keen eye, already suspected Liz's pregnancy and confronted her. Liz tried to downplay it, claiming she had been sick from lack of sleep, but finally confessed that she was pregnant. When Epiphany assumed Patrick was the father, Liz corrected her. I know. Liz corrected her, revealing that Jason could be the father. You don't go with no.
Right, my husband. Why is everyone not assuming my husband is the father?
But it's Epiphany, and she knows that she can trust Epiphany, so she probably just wanted to. Well, she had already talked to Kelly.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's blabbing her own stuff all over the place.
Right.
So Epiphany promised not to tell anyone, offering Liz support during this time. Back at the hospital, Maxie's health crisis prompted Lucky to confront his own actions. He admitted that he had used Maxie for drugs and had been reckless in his relationship with her. Maxie was still hurt by his betrayal and lashed out at him, telling him that he would regret his actions. When Diego entered the room, he demanded that Lucky leave, and Maxie, brokenhearted, told him that she thought Lucky had loved her. She later called Mac and confessed the full extent of her actions, including her affair with Lucky and her attempt to overdose. At the same time, Lucky and Liz's marriage reached a breaking point. Lucky, having hit a rock bottom, was confronted by Mac and others, including Emily and Nicholas, who warned him that he needed to change or risk losing everything. Liz was finally fed up with his addiction and infidelity. Later, she thanked her friends for their support, but it was clear that her relationship with Lucky was beyond repair. So he didn't know that she had actually gone to file yet.
Right.
While Liz comes to terms with her feelings, Jason was also dealing with the fallout of Lucky's behavior. Jason protected Liz from Mac, who was angry about Lucky's actions and blamed Liz for not stopping him. Oh, no, no, no.
No.
Jason and Liz later had a quiet moment on the roof where they shared their thoughts on the situation, and Liz expressed her fear that Lucky was a walking time bomb. Jason, always protective, reassured her and promised to keep an eye on her, but Liz's fears were justified when Lucky made a deadly decision to try and take Jason out. Lucky's obsession with taking down Jason grew, and he began scheming to frame him for drug charges. Thank goodness Jason got over that one and decided to help
Right.
rescue him from Sidwell's
Yep.
camp. So he began scheming to frame him for drug charges. He even planted heroin and intended to arrest Jason, luring him into a trap. When they met, Lucky tried to arrest Jason at gunpoint, but Jason, knowing he would never be convicted, tried to reason with him. In a panic, Lucky fired his gun when he heard footsteps. Not realizing that Liz had entered the scene, she fell to the ground, and as she lay there, she angrily shouted that she was pregnant. Lucky was stunned by the revelation, but Liz, disgusted, realized he had been trying to frame Jason all along. She demanded Jason take her to the hospital to be checked out, still reeling from the traumatic events. He didn't shoot her.
Right.
I think she was just still faint, and so she was overwhelmed.
Yes.
At the hospital, Liz almost slipped and revealed to Kelly that Jason might be the father of her baby. I thought she had already told. Oh, she had just mentioned a paternity test, not who.
Okay.
So Epiphany was the only one that she was confiding in that baby could be Jason's.
Mm-hmm.
Revealed to Kelly that Jason might be the father, but they covered it up. Kelly was puzzled, but Liz's focus was on the well-being of her baby. Jason, however, remained by her side, offering to help as a friend. Liz was grateful, but struggled with the idea of telling Lucky the truth about the pregnancy, especially given their fractured relationship. Yeah, you just filed for divorce. That's a little fractured.
Right.
Jason reassured her, encouraging her to take care of herself and the baby. Later, Lucky came to the hospital and, in a rare moment of clarity, admitted he was going to check into rehab to try to fix things. Liz was taken aback, but appreciated the gesture, though it didn't undo the damage that he had caused. As the tension in her life continued to escalate, Liz had to rely on Jason more than ever, both for support and for protection, as her world with Lucky continued to spiral out of control.
I'm not sure how Sam was like okay with this, because didn't it just say they like worked everything out, Sam and Jason, and Sam knows about the one night stand and stuff. Like, I'm sorry, but maybe you shouldn't be hanging around with the girl you had a one night stand with.
I mean, that's it. But, I mean, so she was obviously not hanging out with Rick,
Right.
but she probably really wasn't in a place to be also having demands. I don't know. I mean, I agree, but yeah.
I mean, I know that they really did end up like just being friends through all of that, but yeah, I'm sorry. There's being the bigger person, and then there's like, no, you're not hanging out with this girl you just had an affair with.
Right.
So, anyway, after Jason walks Liz home to pick up a few things, Lucky is waiting at her apartment, packed and ready for rehab. He pleads with Liz to visit him and give him another chance once he gets better, for the sake of their marriage and their unborn child. Liz tells him she won't be visiting and that their marriage is over. She leaves to get her things, and Jason stays behind to talk to Lucky. He offers some sympathy, urging Lucky to give Liz space and admitting that sometimes relationship damage is permanent. Lucky apologizes for trying to set Jason up with drugs, and Jason accepts the apology. Hey man, I'm sorry that I tried to set you up to look like a drug dealer and that I got my gun out and was going to shoot you. Are we cool? Yep, I accept your apology.
You know what, though? Of anyone, though, Jason would be the one to realize that it wasn't Lucky, it was the drugs. And I feel like it's been a very known thing. We've talked about it several times that Sonny doesn't deal drugs. So the police probably were not really going to buy
True.
that Jason was dealing heroin of all drugs.
Right, right. That's true. It seems funny to be like, he
Oh no, yeah,
apologized and they accepted. Okay.
yeah.
I'm
Want to go get
sorry,
a beer?
Shannon. If you try to get me arrested for something that I didn't do, I'm not just going to be like, apology accepted. See you Sunday to
Right,
record.
right, exactly. So cancel my plans for tomorrow. Gotcha.
Right, right. Liz returns and says a final goodbye to Lucky. He asks if she still loves him, but Liz can't bring herself to say no. She tells him she loves him but needs to move on. Jason takes Liz back to Audrey's house where Liz tells Cameron that they'll have a little sibling one day. She apologizes to Jason for the situation with Lucky, and Audrey expresses hope that Lucky's rehab will allow him to change and become the man Liz fell in love with. Liz, however, is uncertain. Meanwhile, Lucky calls Nikolas to drive him to rehab. Determined to be a better husband and father than Luke, he vows to turn his life around. Liz receives a letter from Lucky expressing his hope that she can trust him again after rehab. Jason asks Liz if continuing to work is the best thing for her during pregnancy, and Liz assures him it helps keep her sane. Yeah, Jason, it's okay. Plenty of women have worked through pregnancy.
But I think in this instance, it's more of the fact that she keeps passing out.
Right, right. So Nicholas later talks to Liz, expressing hope that she might take Lucky back if he gets sober. Liz, however, insists that her marriage is over regardless of the pregnancy. She admits that although she still loves Lucky, their love is unhealthy. Liz debates attending an Al-Anon meeting and is encouraged by Patrick, who shares how the meeting helped him. Liz
Al-Anon.
Al-Anon. Why can I not read today? I'm so sorry. I know that word. Like, we've talked about it 1,000 times. I'm just shortening. It's not Al-Anon anymore. It's just Alan.
It's just Alan.
It's just Alan. I don't know what the heck. Anyway, Liz later talks to Maxie at Kelly's, who apologizes for her role in the situation. Liz is unmoved, admitting she's glad that Lucky's rock bottom led him to rehab. At home, Liz struggles with the decision to contact Lucky, but ultimately decides not to call him. How is Maxie going to apologize whenever we all know that she's not helpful? Like, here's some drugs for your man, and then I'm going to fake a pregnancy. Like, what?
It is not an excuse and it is not okay. But also remember, Lucky was, or Liz, woo, Maxie was super young. So she's
True.
delusional. So
That
she
is true.
has that.
That is true. Yep. Okay. At the hospital, Cameron inadvertently reveals to Emily that Liz is pregnant. Liz confesses the affair with Jason. Why? Liz confesses the affair with Jason. No, like, my brain is still like, why? Why would that be the first thing that you said just to somebody? Yeah, by the way, I had an affair with your brother, so this may not be Lucky's baby. Like, and if you already asked for a paternity test, wait until you get those results. Everybody doesn't need to know your business.
True.
Emily urges her to tell Jason the baby might be his. Liz later calls Jason and informs him about what? Liz later calls Jason and informs him about their affair. I'm assuming that she later calls him and informs him that the condoms were not working and asks what he would do if the baby were his. Lucky tells his mother and Bobby that Liz is pregnant and he's going to rehab. Meanwhile, Maxie, hoping to rekindle the relationship with Lucky, goes to visit him in rehab and is rejected as Lucky reminds her that he is committed to Liz. Maxie, feeling betrayed, then takes a home pregnancy test and discovers she's pregnant too. Meanwhile, Liz continues to grapple with her feelings for Lucky and her pregnancy. She talks to Jason about the possibility of him being the father of her child and the uncertainty about whether she can take Lucky back. Jason offers support but doesn't have answers. At work, Liz struggles to focus and makes a mistake with a patient's medication. Epiphany suggests she take a break, and Liz confesses to her that she told Jason that he could be the father of the baby. Carly overhears and immediately confronts Jason, asking if he knows that the baby could be his. Later, Liz calls Lucky but can't bring herself to speak, only listening as he professes his love. She hangs up and runs into Patrick, who asks what's wrong. Liz admits she's conflicted over Lucky's attempt to win her back. She later confides in Georgie about the pregnancy and the situation with Maxie, feeling relief that Lucky is finally in rehab and that she's no longer dealing with his deception. Maxie told Lucky that she's pregnant, and although he urged her to keep it quiet, she insisted on keeping the baby. She also planned to tell Liz the pregnancy was an accident, but Lucky told her to stay away from Liz. Meanwhile, Carly confronts Jason after overhearing Liz mention that the baby could be his. Jason, unsure about how to proceed, agrees with Carly that he needs to tell Sam the truth. He also promises to support Liz and the baby if the child turns out to be his. Okay, all these people need to slow down, okay? Until you have the paternity test, just slow down. My goodness. Lucky, struggling with his recovery, was advised by Patrick to return to rehab if he wanted any chance of fixing his marriage. Maxie overhears and tries to discuss the pregnancy with Liz, but Liz is already upset, told Lucky that she was done with their marriage and that it was over. Maxie, meanwhile, continues to believe that she would win Lucky's heart. As Liz schedules the paternity test, she encounters Rick, who overheard her and congratulated her. Jason quickly intervenes, warning Rick to stay away from Liz, but Liz insists that they will remain calm until the test results are in. Liz later confides in Carly, who remains unsympathetic, that they had an uncomfortable conversation with Lulu, who accused Liz of only thinking about herself. Meanwhile, Jason struggles with his feelings for Sam, but his one-night stand with Liz left Sam devastated when she found out Liz might be carrying Jason's child. As tensions build, Liz continues to distance herself from Lucky, leading him to pursue divorce papers while clinging to his hopes of winning her back. Leading him to pursue divorce papers? She already filed the divorce papers. Maybe they mean signing it. Liz eventually realized she needed to raise her children on her own, whether or not Jason was the father. So Sam was struggling because this was whenever we thought that Sam couldn't get pregnant, right?
Oh, I mean, it was she and Jason got together after she lost baby Lila, and I believe that that was still fairly new. I mean,
Okay. Okay. Like, I'm
and
not that, I mean, you would be upset, obviously, if your boyfriend had another girl pregnant, but at the same time, she couldn't really throw rocks because thanks goodness that the condom she used with Rick wasn't faulty, or she may have been in that same situation.
cheating's never okay. But with her cheating with Rick, it was a hate hookup,
Yeah,
but she knows that Jason cares for Liz. So
that's
there
true.
had to have been
Right. That
an
would hurt
extra
more.
layer of, okay, but now that you've done that, can you guys go back to being friends? Like, I trusted you to be friends, and then that did not stay friends.
Right, right. That's true. Okay. So Sam confronted Liz, accusing her of wanting Jason's baby to be hers, but Liz defended her one night stand with Jason, pointing out that she and Sam were both with other men at the same time. Liz also threw Sam's fling with Rick in her face. Jason stepped in, telling the women to calm down, but Sam maintained that Liz's pregnancy was too convenient and stormed off. Later, Lulu visited Lucky at rehab, and he admitted to her that he had gotten Maxie pregnant. Lulu lashed out at Maxie, but Lucky defended himself, acknowledging his mistake. I'm assuming that means defended her, acknowledging his mistake. Meanwhile, Carly, upset about the situation, believed Liz was carrying Jason's baby and sympathized with Sam, wishing she could tear Liz's hair out. That's not new. That's how Carly always feels about Liz.
Right?
At General Hospital, Liz discussed the paternity test with Kelly Lee, and Kelly confirmed that it would take a few days for results. Lulu stormed over, accusing Liz of abandoning Lucky when he needed her most. Liz calmly explained that Lucky had to change for himself and not for the baby. She acknowledged that she still loved him but couldn't be with him anymore. Lulu, initially angry, was reassured when Liz said Lucky would still be involved in the baby's life provided he stayed sober. The two women hugged before Lulu left. Kelly then informed Liz that in order to process the paternity test, she needed Jason's signature. Liz commented bitterly that getting Jason's signature would be easy, but the only thing that would be simple is if Lucky were the father. Why does she need Jason's signature but not Lucky's? Because he's her husband? That's weird. Anyway,
Probably.
meanwhile, Sam,
No, because she probably wasn't necessarily testing Lucky. She was probably just testing Jason. So to test,
oh, just a yes, no for Jason. Okay, that would
yeah.
make sense. Sorry, I thought it was running both of them,
No,
and I'm like, wouldn't they both need to sign? Okay, that
no,
makes
I was
sense.
following you. And then I was like, oh no, but if it's only a 50-50,
Right, you would only need
then you
one
really only
test.
need permission of one,
Okay, that makes sense.
I would think.
Meanwhile, Sam, devastated over the situation, confronted Jason in the nursery of his penthouse. She asked how Jason could deny her a child while giving one to Liz. Jason tried to explain, stating that he never intended for things to happen this way. Sam accused Jason of already asking Liz to marry him, which he admitted was true. Sam then said she wouldn't love him if he was willing to walk away from his own child. Jason explained that Liz had refused his proposal because they were both in love with other people. Sam, heartbroken, expressed that she felt like she was becoming a distant memory to him. Elsewhere, Rick, eager to use the situation to his advantage, listened in on a conversation between Liz and Jason where they discussed Lucky's addiction and Maxie's pregnancy. Rick was shocked by the information and questioned why Liz was confiding in Jason. Liz then asked Jason what would happen if he was the father of her baby. I think she already asked him that once. And why is Rick listening in on other people's conversations? It has nothing to do with you. You are sleeping with Sam and Alexis. Why are you getting involved with Liz's stuff?
Because that's his ex-wife.
Back at the hospital, Liz received a call from Lucky, who asked her about her pregnancy. Liz reassured him that she was feeling better, and they spoke briefly before Lucky ended the call to attend his rehab session. Sam, having overheard Liz's conversation with Lucky, okay, everybody just needs to stop listening to other people's conversations. Anyway, Sam, having overheard Liz's conversation with Lucky, apologized for her harshness and expressed sympathy for her. Liz acknowledged that if she were in Sam's position, she would have reacted similarly, but hoped Lucky was the father. Sam agreed, but questioned whether Lucky deserved to know the truth, regardless of the paternity test.
So Rick, who had been listening in on the conversation between Liz and Jason, expressed his concern about the impact Liz's personal struggles might have on the baby. He offered to help, but Liz made it very clear she had a strong support system with Nikolas, Emily, and Audrey. Maxie, who was trying to secure financial support for her and Lucky's baby, visited the Quartermains to pick up a check for the defective condom scandal. She told Georgie and Lulu that the money would help them care for their child when Lucky got out of rehab. Lulu, skeptical about Maxie's intentions, reminded her that Lucky loved his family and would never leave Liz. Maxie, however, remained convinced that Lucky loved her and would take care of their child. Those are two separate things.
Yep.
At the hospital, Rick visited Liz and offered his support, but Liz insisted she had enough help from her family. After Rick left, Garcia revealed to Liz that they had overheard her conversation with Jason, including the possibility that Jason could be the father of the baby. Liz was shocked but determined not to let it affect her. Later at Kelly's, Maxie visited Lucky and acted as if Lulu had been telling everyone about their situation. She pressured him to publicly acknowledge their baby. Lucky, still unsure about the situation, reluctantly agreed to consider a custody arrangement. Lulu overheard this and confronted Maxie, accusing her of trying to trap Lucky into a relationship. Maxie, defensive, insisted that she loved the baby and had no intention of terminating the pregnancy. Lucky, while promising to take care of the baby, did not commit to being in a relationship with Maxie. Maxie, upset with Lulu's interference, left but overheard Lulu telling Lucky that Maxie could be faking the pregnancy. Lucky remained steadfast in his belief that Maxie wouldn't lie about it, even though Lulu reminded him of Maxie's involvement in his addiction. Meanwhile, Liz and Jason continued to worry about Rick's interference. Liz confided in Jason that she feared Rick might tell Lucky about their conversation, especially since Rick had been trying to manipulate the situation. Liz also revealed that Rick had offered Lucky his job back if he stayed sober. Was Rick ever commissioner?
I did not think so.
Can a DA
I did
prevent
not
a
think
cop
so.
from? Okay, we're not going to go down this rabbit hole, but okay. Jason warned Liz that Rick was playing her, using her to get to him. Liz, however, believed Rick was genuinely trying to help. In a tense moment, Rick found Liz and Jason at the nurse's station. He bluntly told Liz that she was pregnant by a man she couldn't rely on, suggesting that she rely on him instead. Liz remained unmoved by Rick's offer and continued to handle things on her own. Later, Jason and Rick faced off in a heated confrontation. Rick provoked Jason by bringing up Sam and insulting her. Jason, enraged, physically attacked Rick, but Sonny arrived just in time to stop him from going too far. Sonny reminded Jason that Rick was trying to provoke him and that Jason had played right into his hands. After the altercation, Sonny took Jason to his place to calm him down, but Jason insisted on staying in town until he knew for sure whether he was the father of Liz's baby. Sam, meanwhile, met with Liz at Kelly's and expressed her intention to fight for Sam, even if he was the father of Liz's child. Liz, resigned to the situation, agreed that if Jason was the father, he could be part of the child's life. The situation between the two women continued to build as each faced the complexities of love, family, and betrayal. The situation took a dark turn when Rick was seriously beaten by Jason, leading to his hospitalization. Rick, now determined to bring Jason down, told Detective Rodriguez that he wanted to charge Jason with attempted murder. Oh, dude, that is a stretch for a fist fight. The conflict between the men was escalating, and the future of Liz's pregnancy and her relationship with both Jason and Lucky remained uncertain. Sonny met with Liz to discuss the paternity of her baby. Liz shared that she expected to know by the end of the day who the father was. She also expressed that she was glad Jason had someone to talk to, as he usually supports others, which is why she turned to him the night of the blackout. She admitted that it was never meant to be more than that. Liz worried that if Jason were the father, it would push Lucky over the edge. Sonny assured her that if Lucky relapsed, it would be on him and not her. Liz was concerned about Rick knowing and the pressure it put on her to keep the secret. Sonny revealed that Jason had almost killed Rick, but that had left town to avoid further confrontation. Liz was warned by Detective Cruz not to get involved in the conflict between Jason and Rick and to protect herself and the baby. Mac visited Lucky in rehab to warn him about his destructive relationship with Maxie. Neither of us can read, guys. This is the episode we can't read. So I have a feeling there's going to be some editing in here somewhere. So if it sounds a little weird and choppy,
choppy, not chompy.
Okay. That's why he ordered him to stay away from her. Lucky refused, insisting the baby was his responsibility. Lulu, desperate for a solution, asked Sonny to intervene with Maxie. Sonny advised her that Lucky had to make decisions on his own, and Liz had the right to start fresh with or without him. Lucky, meanwhile, told Lulu that he was getting stronger and would be there for Maxie, but was committed to his future with Liz and their baby. Meanwhile, Liz went to see Rick, who was still reeling from the altercation with Jason. He warned her about Jason's dangerous lifestyle, but Liz defended Jason, insisting he would never intentionally hurt her. She asked Rick to drop the charges, but Rick was determined to make Jason pay. Liz received the paternity test results from Dr. Lee, but before she could open them, a woman in labor interrupted her. Liz rushed to help and accidentally dropped the results, which blew away in the wind. She panicked when she couldn't find them and asked for another copy, but Dr. Lee said it would take a few days.
Oh, geez.
In 2006?
Yeah.
Later, Sonny helped her find the results, which confirmed that Lucky was the father. Liz shared her feelings with Sonny, saying that while Jason would have been a great father, Lucky was getting better and would be the right choice. Maxie, still claiming to be pregnant with Lucky's child, visited him at rehab and reassured him that she didn't need him to be involved if he didn't want to be. Liz, however, encouraged Lucky to take responsibility for the child. Later, Liz and Lucky had an emotional conversation where he promised to be there for their child. Carly, believing Lucky was the father, rushed to Jason's penthouse to inform him. Jason accepted the situation but admitted he was disappointed. He acknowledged that Lucky would be better for the baby, and Sam and Alexis's issues were weighing on him. Liz, meanwhile, burned the paternity test, signaling her acceptance of the outcome. Maxie visited Lucky again to confirm her pregnancy, but Lucky expressed his concern over the possible involvement in his addiction. Meanwhile, Liz and Lucky continued to navigate their difficult relationship, with Liz supporting him, but ultimately deciding that her life would move forward with or without him. In the end, despite the tension, Liz and Lucky seemed to be heading towards reconciliation, with both of them promising to be there for their child.
Liz was surprised with a birthday party at Kelly's thrown by Audrey, Mike, Cameron, Nicholas, and Emily. After receiving gifts, Nicholas shared that Lucky had a personal present for her. Liz vented her frustration, saying that she was trying to focus on herself and her children and felt like everyone was preventing her from moving on. Emily later tried to convince her that forgiveness was the key to healing and urged her to stop harboring hatred towards Lucky. Later, Liz met Lucky outside his rehab center where he gave her a bracelet for their anniversary, expressing his desire to make amends. He also gave her a check for $300,000, hoping she would use it to buy a house for herself and the kids. Liz was grateful for the gesture but refused, explaining that she wasn't ready to make such decisions and needed time to rebuild trust before considering a future with him. Meanwhile, at the police station, Jason visited Sam, warning her that Rick would do whatever it took to break her. He reassured her that he'd take care of everything and that she shouldn't worry. Rick interrupted their meeting, showing Sam a photo of Jason and Liz, suggesting they were more than just friends. This accusation sparked anger in Sam, and in a fit of rage, she struck Rick with a chair and fled. Detective Garcia.
Question.
Huh?
Okay, so where did Lucky get that check? Was that the
I don't know.
payout?
That's
Was
what
that
I'm
the payout
wondering.
because of the defective condoms
That's what I'm
to
thinking.
Maxie?
That's what I'm
And Maxie
guessing.
gave it to him? Okay.
I would guess. Because, yeah, the men shouldn't be able to collect the checks, or else it should be 50-50 for each couple. Um,
I think that Maxie probably gave him the check for them to build a life together
right. And he instead turned around and gave it. It's still
to
check.
Liz.
The check would say Maxie's name, but okay.
I mean,
Um,
we're getting all into signer
right.
technicalities here. So
Detective Garza, who witnessed the incident, let her go, believing Rick was out of control and responsible for planting evidence against her. Liz later visited Lucky in rehab again, where he was pleased to see her wearing the bracelet he gave her. He reiterated that he wanted to support her and the kids, but Liz insisted she couldn't accept the check for the house. She told him he needed to focus on his own recovery first before expecting any reconciliation. Liz encouraged him to let his family support him and take things one step at a time, though she didn't rule out the possibility of a future together. Rick then visited Liz at the hospital, accusing her of being involved with Jason. He showed her the picture of them, implying it was proof of a romantic relationship. Liz denied it, reiterating that she was trying to reconcile with Lucky. Rick warned her not to help Jason and demanded that she contact him if Jason reached out. Liz stood firm, telling Rick that Jason would not contact her. Jason and Sam continued hiding out in a rented room when they ran into an older tenant who complained about the plumbing. Jason made up a story about being rarely home, and Sam hid the handcuffs she was wearing by draping a shirt over her arm. The woman suggested Sam rest in the room. Jason then took the opportunity to try to free Sam from the cuffs, and they talked about their strained relationship with Rick. Sam admitted she felt betrayed after seeing the photo of Jason and Liz, but Jason reassured her that Liz was just a friend and that the relationship ended when he learned that he wasn't the father of her child. Jason also revealed that Rick was manipulating Liz to get to them and that Liz was unknowingly being used in Rick's game. Their conversation grew emotional and they nearly kissed, but Sam pulled back, needing to take a shower. As Sam was about to leave the room, they overheard the older tenant talking to the cops, suspecting Sam was the woman in the news. Meanwhile, Rick showed up at Shady Brook to see Lucky, asking him to help with his investigation into Jason. Lucky was confused about how he could assist, but Rick mentioned that he had surveillance photos of Jason helping Sam escape and thought Lucky might know where Jason was hiding. Lucky didn't have any answers but agreed to look at the photos. Liz intervened, asking Lucky not to view them. Rick then left, promising Liz he wouldn't share the photos and only wanted to help Lucky get back on track. At the Haunted Star, the family gathered at Luke's request. Luke told them they needed to get their stories straight as he had informed Laura that she had been in a car accident the night before the wedding. He explained that Laura believed she had been driving with Rick Weber and that the brakes failed, causing the crash that killed Rick. Though Nicholas was uneasy about lying to Laura, the family agreed it was necessary for her well-being. Luke also revealed that he and Laura were getting married, which triggered an awkward moment when Tracy reminded Luke that they were still married. Jason, disguised as a doctor, visited Liz at the hospital and asked her for her help in obtaining Rick's cell phone. Liz successfully lifted it for him, and Jason cloned the phone before handing it back. Epiphany witnessed the exchange and scolded Liz for assisting a fugitive, especially while pregnant. At Carly and Jax's wedding preparation, Carly was unhappy with the flower arrangement, which led Jax to suggest they postpone the wedding. Carly believed Jax was having second thoughts, but he clarified that he only wanted to delay it so Jason could attend. Meanwhile, Sunny and Alexis discussed Rick, and Sunny received a call from Jason urgently informing him that Sam had been shot. Rick had set a trap for Sam at the graveyard and a cop had shot her. Jason was frantic and Sunny immediately left to help him. Alexis called Jax to inform him about Sam being shot. While Sam was only grazed by the bullet, she was brought to General Hospital for treatment. At the hospital, Rick staged the situation, claiming that Sam needed to be treated for her injuries. Liz became suspicious, and Rick tried to keep her from getting involved. Robin and Patrick expressed concern about the situation, and Rick manipulated the media, making it seem like Sam was critically injured. Carly then arrived at the hospital and noticed the increased police presence. She and Sunny argued, and Carly pulled a gun on him, blaming him for Sam's situation. Jason, still in hiding, saw the news clip and feared for Sam's safety. Rick continued to manipulate the situation, having Epiphany pretend to treat Sam while an undercover cop posed as Sam, waiting to trap Jason. Liz, after seeing the sedated woman in Sam's bed, realized something was wrong and tried to warn Jason. Rick intervened and forced her into silence. Carly's disruption at the hospital served as a diversion, allowing Jason to sneak past the policewoman guarding Sam's room. He overpowered her and managed to escape. Rick, realizing Carly had created the diversion, locked down the hospital, keeping Carly, Jax, and Sunny under questioning. Meanwhile, Liz took Sam to safety, with Rick eventually discovering a tracking device he had placed on Liz to find their location. Jason and Sam, knowing Rick was closing in, left the apartment after discovering the tracker. Rick busted down the door, but Liz denied knowing where they were. The landlord kicked Liz out, blaming her for the trouble caused by Rick's investigation. Rick later tried to make amends by bringing Liz dinner at work, expressing his concern for her and her children. Liz defended her friendship with Jason, explaining that he had been a good friend. Rick, however, tried to gain her sympathy by mentioning Alexis keeping Molly from him.
As Lucky continued his recovery, he faced tension with both Liz and Maxie. Maxie confronted Liz about their strained relationship, but Lucky made it clear that his priority was his family and Liz. Liz later sought advice from Laura, who encouraged her to keep an open mind about Lucky. Luke, meanwhile, struggled with Helena's threats as he vowed to protect Laura's recovery. Lucky found himself back in a tense situation when Rick pressured him to take on Jason's case. Mac warned him that he would hold him accountable if he backslid. Despite these complications, Lucky and Liz's relationship showed signs of hope, especially after a heart-to-heart with Laura. At Luke and Laura's wedding, Liz and Maxie had a tense moment when Maxie caught the bouquet, though Liz refrained from commenting. The evening marked a turning point for Liz as she began to consider the possibility of a future with Lucky. At the wedding, a photographer snapped pictures of the family in various poses. Maxie awkwardly stepped into one of the photos, much to the dismay of Liz and Laura. Afterward, Liz walked off, followed by Lucky. The rest of the family trailed behind, leaving Maxie alone with the bouquet, visibly upset that Lucky had gone after Liz. At the reception, Lucky apologized to Liz for Maxie's disruption, insisting he had no idea she would crash the wedding. Liz was annoyed and didn't want to discuss Maxie and suggested they dance instead. Meanwhile, Alice snuck into a closet, placing a piece of wedding cake on Tracy's lap while she was tied up and gagged. Rick arrived at the reception with the official business. He was there to arrest Sunny for being an accessory. Sunny immediately accused Rick of orchestrating the ambush on Jason and Sam, which caused Liz to pay closer attention. Carly pushed Rick, demanding answers, but Liz distracted the room when she suddenly collapsed, breaking a glass as she fell. Lucky and Emily quickly helped her, and Edward rushing in, demanding to know what happened. Rick claimed he was just doing his job, and when Carly threatened him, Rick hesitated, realizing he might have miscalculated the timing of Jason and Sam's surrender. He agreed to wait, much to Carly's frustration. Afterward, Rick checked on Liz, asking if she was okay. Liz reassured him that she was fine, although she was clearly covering for him. Lucky, concerned, asked Liz why she was protecting Rick, but she insisted it was nothing. Carly later confronted Skye about her boyfriend's alibi, while Liz, feeling lightheaded, tried to convince Lucky that she was just overwhelmed by the day's events. Nikolas entered, announcing that Laura wanted to see them, him, Lucky, and Lulu, at the house. Lucky was reluctant to leave Liz, but she urged him to go. Emily, worried about Liz, expressed concern that neither of them were truly okay and they should pray for Jason. At the church, Liz prayed for Jason's safety. As she lit a candle, she heard someone say her name. To her shock, Jason was lying on the floor, barely conscious. Liz rushed to his side, frantic, and begged him to hold on for the sake of their baby. She finally admitted to Jason that the baby wasn't Lucky's, it was his.
Dun, dun, dun. I wonder what happened.
I don't know. We need a little, I don't want them to harp on this, but I feel like we need to at least discuss this to some degree right now.
Right?
At least something. But I guess let's see as we recap the shows on Monday.
Have a good weekend.
And we'll meet you at the pier.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, we invite you to go to peer54podcast.com to subscribe on your favorite platform. Don't forget to leave us a review. And you can also follow us on many social media channels. Just search for Peer54 Podcast. Also, we are not perfect, so if there is something that we missed or messed up, just let us know by emailing us at peer54podcast@gmail.com.